What up, what up, what up? It's your boy. We're back. But we never left. Back like we never left. If you know, you know. Let's sit. Where do we want to sit? Kind of want to put this by the water. I'm going to have a little chat with Hermes. Okay, I think that could work. Oh, there's a lot of bugs here. That could work. Okay. I know I'm far away, but that's why I have the mic. This video is intended to be a bit of a reflection. Today, June 17th, 8:30. I feel like it's the first time in a long time where I've been truly still the past few weeks, which has been great. You know, they fly by and things are picking up when it comes to work. And I'm far away. When it comes to work, Lex, actually, you're gonna watch me struggle to make up my mind of what I want to do. Sometimes you can't overthink shit. I guess I'll sit here. Okay. That's far away. That's blocking me. But it is what it is. So I'm sitting here. People are walking in a park. Nice. Pflugerville Lake. I want to talk about life. I want to talk a little bit about, I posted, it's funny, today, chatting with Sarah, shout out Sarah, and we're talking about, I was showing her like my YouTube, and I was like talking about content, both in the creative field, and this concept about sharing, when you put something online with the intentions of, like, for me, it's more about accountability, and then to see yourself, addressing the elephant in the room when it really isn't an elephant, but more for me, it is, saying I'm going to post for 30 days consistently, Sarah gave me a really good perspective about sharing what did I learn from that, because ultimately, like, there are elements where you see it as, like, you sort of let yourself down, you let the people that, whoever's watching this, like, down in the sense that, like, you're supposed to do these things. And if there's one takeaway I learned, and just for documenting and sharing perspective, is that content is an interesting game. It's my work, it's what I do, and yet there's this battle when it comes to creating stuff in general, or sharing things. And I think it goes really down to intention. For me, it's trying to address a potential insecurity of just, like, really caring about my presence online, and the way that I can prove to myself that how can I not be prideful in myself or my ego and all that stuff. So it's like, do stuff like this where it isn't perfect, and it's preaching about, like, just taking action, getting it done. And that was the whole concept behind the 30 days, was like to get me in this headspace where I'm going to prove to myself that I can create content consistently. And the reality is, it is not easy. Whether it's just because I don't see certain moments in my life, there's certain moments in my life where I'm on the pursuit of trying to be as present as possible in a world that is all about cheap dopamine or quick dopamine, the phone and all this stuff. And to create something, or videos, a series of videos that almost like this one, no cuts, that causes you to take a second, slow down, stillness. Even then, you're not addressing the things that you need to address. Meaning, like, I'll sit and watch a video, but my mind is distracted. It isn't still. It isn't present in what I'm processing. So, to address, content is hard, right? It's a lesson I learned, even though I can create it, I've been creating it for so long. It's like, even for someone like myself, creating it on your own, there is a mental barrier that comes up. It's not a matter of inaction, because I can do it, but now it's the mentality behind, why am I doing this? And I found it where I'm most myself is when I don't have to concern myself of like picking up the camera or anything. Like I'm just me, and the camera so happens to be on me. Today I was editing the video going back to Jersey, and I'm reliving these moments, and I'm like, where I find myself the most present in those moments, for me, that solidify a feeling and allow me to process feeling, is when I don't have the camera. Because I'm not, like, when you hold the camera, you're thinking about the edit, you're thinking about how you're going to stitch it, you're going to think about, okay, let me get this. And I think that's where people like myself are an asset to, and that's part of why I do what I do and sort of make a living doing what I do, is because there is a need. And so if like a creator's watching out there, there is a need for someone like myself, that my mind is a second brain for this individual. But yet the double-edged sword is that you can't be a second brain for yourself, if that makes sense. Like right now, I'm going to pick this up and I'm going to say, oh, look at the exposure, let me fix it. And it's like the fact that my brain can't process the things that are top of mind, I get pulled in different directions due to this. It doesn't allow me to truly, I feel like, tap into my authentic self. I'm going to keep it as is, right? Like my mind's all over the place. The things that I want to talk about, which they're here, but then it's like these other things. So yeah, I think I processed, or I hope that makes sense, of just content is a animal trying to be tamed, and sometimes it's like a good dog and it's great, and then other times it's a lot to handle. Yeah, so that was a lesson, and I'm finding my cadence. I'm finding my, inspiration. There are sparks. There's the difference between discipline, and I personally don't want content. Like I like this, where it's, hey, I think I have a moment of, I've taken the time to reflect and process emotions or events, and here's what I've come up with. I'm ready to share. Versus this idea that it's like I have to bring a new perspective each day, or I have to, like, I felt like I was putting so much emphasis or pressure to having to have these reflections each day. But the reality is, it takes, in my opinion, it took a collective of 6 months to come to the conclusion of living in Austin. It took me 2 weeks in Jersey, which is the next thing I want to talk about, to really understand that I did make the right decision in moving, because there was this, idea in my head that I was like, did I make the right decision? Was this just an impulse? Was it something, an itch that I had to scratch to say that I did it and it was part of my story, and so be it, like that's cool. But after experiencing the past 6 months in Austin and then going back to Jersey and New York for 2 weeks, I truly feel like God is calling me here for sure. I've never felt more connected or present with God here, and I'm grateful for that. And the same thing, you don't know what you have until it's gone. It's like when I was away for 2 weeks from here, there was this yearning to get back. It's also the unknown, there's a lot of things going on, building behind the scenes, and I'm excited. And I'm also really adopting the mentality of just, I don't know what this is. I feel like my past videos have been all about struggle, or like I'm figuring it out, or this is what I'm running into, and it, it's all real stuff. But at some point in my life, like you got to shut up. You just have to take action. And when you have something like this, over your shoulder, you tend to care about how is this being perceived. Like even when it comes to the working stuff, like, okay, like, is this a cool angle? Is this Iman Gadzi style? Is this gonna come off to my aesthetic, to my brain? Like, again, it goes back to like not giving a fuck at times, and like how you can say you don't give a fuck, but how do you actually demonstrate that? And a lot of it is taking action in things like this, but also like the act of not acting, meaning taking the time away from this to process, to sit in stillness. So for some context, came here, mentality, I'm gonna do 6 miles. I started running 3, and I was hitting my 7:30, and then towards like the 3rd mile, I started to drop my cadence, and it was like around 8 minutes, my average pace, which is not bad, but it's like, okay, marathon training in October, starting to come up, like let's start to push it. I was listening to the 4 Agreements. Shout out Nicholas for recommending it, and Nick, 2 Nicks, recommending that book. And I'm listening to this book, and it's talking about trying your best. And all you can do is really try your best. And as I'm running, I'm listening to this, like, am I trying my best? Am I giving it my all? And there's a part of me where I've reminded myself of seasons where, okay, you've been here before. What does that look like? All this stuff. And the reality was, like, I was trying my best, but I couldn't. How do you explain it? Where you don't tap into, intentionally, I didn't tap into the vault or the what's it called? That place mentally, because I wanted to be here. I wanted to process how I was feeling here in this moment, here and now. And how I was feeling was like, I'm 3 miles, I'm good, and then I'm done. And I'm like, okay, walk it. Do that, walk it. So I'm walking the additional 3 miles. And as I'm walking, I'm like, this is the point. This is the point where you talk to God in this stillness, in this moment. Like, the running and the music, it's all noise. And in the, there's moments and times where I'm going through it physically, whether through a workout or a sauna session. It's just, and sauna is more particular, like, where it's like you're just suffering, right? And I'm like, sometimes you can speak to God in suffering, but also, like, what if I just decided to speak to God right now as I'm walking? I found myself, like, trying to, like, my mind wanted to, like, okay, it's too quiet, let's do something. It's too quiet, let's put this on. It's too quiet, let's think about this, or this thought will pop up, this. And it reminded me a little bit about meditation. It's like when a thought comes in, identify it, but then release it and get back to stillness. My entire world is around noise, is around constant action, it's very, very little stillness. And you would think, like, when you go to sleep, you're in stillness, but yet you're watching Netflix or you're watching YouTube, and your mind is not still. And it's when you sleep that it becomes still, but even then it's like there's subconscious work happening, but you're not consciously being still. I don't know how to explain it. It might not make any sense, but this is just things that I'm reflecting on. Like, right now I'm asking myself, like, what am I trying to say? Don't just say stuff. Process it. Another lesson learned is allow yourself to feel. So tying into my last point about constant noise, constant distraction, that we don't decide to sit in stillness, is because there's this feeling that starts to build, discomfort or a feeling of something's building, and you tend to suppress it with cheap dopamine or a quick like mind distraction. And going to Red Rocks, listening to a lot of the sermons, and it was talking a lot about loving God. I went to a singles conference, which was interesting, really cool. Put the phone away, and it wasn't a mixer. It was this, just how to handle being single or how to navigate that world. The idea that marriage and relationship is on mission, not the mission. It's not the end goal. You need to be whole in yourself. It's a lie that someone else is going to complete you. All very insightful points. But the biggest takeaway was that allowing yourself, love the Lord with all your soul, all your mind, and all your heart. And a lot of times we stop at the mind, or we don't allow ourselves to love the Lord with our mind because our mind is somewhere else. And then it all like trickles down. I believe it was the soul, then the mind, and the heart, and then love your neighbor as yourself. And if we can't do these three things of truly loving the Lord with our mind, our soul, our heart, how can we love our neighbor? Right? It's like, the whole concept of like, you got to love yourself before you can love other people. I think this idea of loving yourself is this constant, you don't love yourself because of certain actions you're taking, or you love yourself because of the actions that you took. So it's just a lot to reflect on, and that's basically where I've been at with those side of things. My boy's fishing next to me. Let's see if he got something. Never been much of a fisher, but I could see the attractiveness in it. The stillness, the quietness. You're doing something simple as like moving. He's like mimicking I guess like how a fish would move, He's moving through. There's fish there, but they're not going for it. Oh, no. Is that you? No. So yeah, basically what I wanted to reflect on. Sometimes you gotta just go touch grass. Sometimes you gotta shut up and listen to nothing. God is good, my friends.